So, next little part of our gathering here that's really sweet is I get to introduce to you Tammy Adler-Fuller. I think that's how you say it. Is it Fuller? I said it right. Is the director of OpenDoor, and it's been a ministry that we're trying to partner with. And she's going to come up and just share with you what OpenDoor is about, a little bit of her story and some other folks. And what we try to do once a year is, take, in a way to serve the poor, is just take our offering and just give it away. And so we're giving all of this week and what we've been kind of, preparing for, hopefully you have been, to make this like a real generous offering. And usually it's like 3 times what we normally give. So I hope you're that generous, because we're trying to focus on the poor in some form or shape. And she's going to tell you about the folks that they serve in OpenDoor. So I want you to welcome Tammy. Come up here. Here you go, Tammy.
Thanks, John. Okay, first, full disclosure, I am not a professional speaker. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I love Jesus Christ, like all of you do, but I do have a story of how OpenDoor came to be. About 15 years ago, I was living a life in complete darkness and isolation, shame, a lot of embarrassment, didn't want anyone to know what was going on in our home. My daughter was a heroin addict, and with that comes all those things, embarrassment and shame. It was our dark secret. Nobody knew. Our family didn't even know. We didn't want anyone to know. And now here I am speaking before you and telling you my daughter has been a heroin addict. So 15 years has changed a lot of things. What I learned is coming out of that darkness is what I needed to do to help other people and to even heal myself. So her story is horrendous. I won't go into all the details, but I can tell you that she found recovery at 19 years old. So she was very young. She started drinking when she was 12. Somebody told me, you need to keep your eye on Stephanie, because I think she's drinking. And I'm like, that's preposterous. She's 12. Well, she was, and of course that led to other drugs. And she tried to take her life. And that's kind of when the door opened for me to realize that what we were dealing with was quite serious. So she spent 3 days in Harding Hospital. She was a senior in high school by then. And when she got out, she ran away. And she ran away to be with a guy she met in the psych ward. So she went from bad to worse really quickly. She lived in crap house. She had scabies. She was dirty. She was what you would picture an addict to be, but or someone who's dealing with addiction to be. But you don't expect to find her in the suburbs, right? You don't expect to find her going to a suburban school with a loving family. So fast forward, she had run away. We had kept in contact a little bit. And one day I said to her, if you would like to get well, Bo, who is not her father, but my favorite husband, he's my second husband, we have made arrangements for you to go to treatment. And of course she said she was fine, right? I mean, she was fine. So the next morning she called, and I was at Target, and she said, I don't want to live like this anymore, Mom. And so within 3 hours, my husband and I had her on a plane to Florida. And I thought 30 days later she'd be back and we would live happily ever after. Well, that's not the story. Stephanie was in and out of treatment, in and out of sober living, in and out of crap houses, in and out of homelessness. You know, as a mom of a young girl, or of a young man, just as a mom, that is not the story that you want, right? That's not your story. That's not your dream for your child. So a lot of enabling I provided, I'm sorry to say, but I did. I was her best enabler. And then one day she called, and she truly was at her lowest. She was homeless. She had a bag of stuff. She had no one. She had just burned through, even people who had been her friend in her addiction were done with her. And she called and she wanted her usual help, money for a hotel, money for food. Of course, that money was really for drugs. And I said no. And I knew when I said no that she was either going to die or she was going to ask Jesus to help her. But I could not be her help anymore. I had done it for so long, and I was exhausted, and I wasn't helping her. So I said, I love you. I will always love you, but I am not going to help you stay sick anymore. And I cried for 3 days. I did not hear from her. I had no idea if she was dead or alive. And then on the third day, my phone rang from an unknown phone number, but it was Florida, which is where she still was, and it was Stephanie. She had detoxed in a car by herself. She had found a place to live on her own. And she said the words I had longed to hear for so long, which is, I'm not going to use drugs today, Mom. I'm going to go to a meeting instead. She didn't say I'm never going to use again, because someone who has substance use disorder can't say that. It's a daily reprieve. It's not a forever reprieve. So for me, that was huge that those were her words. So through the grace of God and through our prayers and through Stephanie's surrender to God, true surrender to God, she will have 10 years of sobriety and be free from her addiction in February. So she is my hero. She's my hero. And so during that time, I befriended another woman who had a daughter who was struggling with heroin addiction, and she said, we need to do something for people in our community who are suffering, because where is the help for our daughters? Where can they go? Where can they get help? Where can we get them off the streets? She sent her daughter to Kentucky. I sent my daughter to Florida, which, by the way, she still lives there. But she's married with a family, and every day I get sad that she lives there. I say, thank you, Jesus, that she's alive, right? Like, I got to get over my selfishness. I want her right here with me. And so Leslie and I started talking about how we could help our community of women who really don't have a lot of support. And funny thing about Leslie is she thought maybe we could buy a truck, like a semi-truck, and turn it into showers, which is not a horrible idea, but she wanted me to be the driver. I was like, no, we got to come up with something better. So lots of hard work, and we came up with OpenDoor, which became OpenDoor Columbus, because I don't know about you guys, but if you Google OpenDoor, it's real estate, it's there is another nonprofit that helps developmentally challenged people. So we're like, we got to do something because we want people to know about what we do. So Dash Columbus, if you decide to look us up. Leslie had a dream about her daughter, who, by the way, is also clean and sober today, and it also is pregnant and also has a baby. So she's also a miracle. Leslie had a dream that her daughter came to see her. She hadn't seen her in a very long time, and she stood in a doorway, and she had a long, flowy sundress on, which totally irritates her daughter because she's like, I would not show up in a dress, Mom. But anyhow, that was her vision, and so that's how OpenDoor got its name, because of that dream. It's almost as if God told her. So lots of prayers and lots of talking to people until we finally came upon a model that is not new, but that we wanted to try. It's actually a model that's been used across the United States for just under 20 years. It has proven success. It was introduced to me by somebody who has used it. And so we decided that we would look into using this model. So we became licensed users. The model goes like this, and this is where we need all of you for. 6 people, 6 volunteers form a team or a table. You go through a complete training of about 15 hours. It's pretty intense. And then a woman, either from federal probation, thank you, Penny, Hilliard Recovery Court, HART, which is Helping Achieve Recovery Together. It's a court down. It's a municipal court, thank you. Base Camp, they identify women that they think would benefit from having a team of people in our community to support them for 1 year, an hour a week, in helping them achieve their goals, helping them stay clean, helping them not go back to the streets, helping them get their driver's license, help them with computer skills, help them figure out how to live in our community when they have been away from it for so long. And it's hard for them. Some of them have been in prison for 10 years. Think about how much has changed in 10 years. I mean, we have to teach them about cell phones and the internet and computers and help them. We just had a woman from federal probation. She's amazing. She came out. She was still using drugs. She lived in a homeless shelter. She was a mess. And now I can happily say that she has her own place to live. Her daughter is living with her. She's clean, and she is helping other people. That's the beautiful thing. She is not keeping that to herself. I was at Base Camp yesterday and talking to some of the people there, which is where this woman spent a lot of time getting well, in addition to us. And they are raving about her because she wants to help every single person that walks through that door that wants to be well. And so the gift goes on and on and on. And the other beautiful thing about it is if we can help a woman that has children change the direction of her life, think about what we're doing for her children. Her children are going to see it differently than she saw it. So then her children have a chance at a better life. So it's generational, it's powerful. So many volunteers have come that don't even know that they have something to heal in them, no idea, and they too are transformed. I see it every day. It's amazing. I get texts all the time. I didn't even know that I was holding on to that. And they have the opportunity to heal. So I'm very proud of what we've done. We're very young. We got our 501c3 in December of 19, and the world shut down 6 weeks later. And so there were many days during that time that I asked Jesus if this is really what he wanted me to do, because I really was doubting him, which is funny in itself, right? And every time I said, really? Am I supposed to keep doing this? I would get a phone call, I would get a text, I would get an email, something that had to do with OpenDoor, and I'm like, okay, I hear you, because it's his will, not mine, right? This has nothing to do with me. This has to do with doing God's work. And that is what we are trying to do. We're very fortunate. Penny is on our board, and she is amazing, and she's been a great addition, and I don't know what we would do without her, so you are a true blessing. Pastor John, when we had the opportunity to meet him and share our journey with him, has opened his arms wide, as Christ would do, to invite us into his home here and ask for your support. So that's what we do. Oh, so right now we have 12 tables that are either completely done or up and going, and we have about 15 volunteers that are waiting to be trained. And we have a wait list of women who are waiting for us to have tables for them. That is such a challenge, because we need 6 of you to 1 of them. And then think about the friendship. You make friends with new people. You make friends with this woman. I mean, I'm having lunch with this friend that I told you about, that from federal prison. I'm having lunch with her in February. We have long been done with our table with her. So the friendships are, we hope, for a lifetime. That's the goal. So that's our story, and thank you for listening.
Hold on just a second. We are actively inviting women to consider going through the training and being part of tables. So just want to put that, if you didn't get the message, that's part of what Tammy's here to invite you to do. Anybody have a question that you might want to ask Tammy? She might not have the answer, but she will have a response.
Penny will have the answer.
Maybe Penny will have the answer.
Guys, it's 1 hour a week for a year. 1 hour a week for a year after your training. And it makes it convenient for all 6 of you and your friends. And we aren't asking you to give your friends money. It's your social, what we're asking you to do is provide your social braces, your social capital. Oh, I know someone who is looking for someone for a job. We do not hand them money. We're not asking you for any money, just your time and your willingness to sit down with a woman who has whatever her goals are. It's her goals that we're looking for. Does she want school? Does she want employment? Does she need housing? Does she need to get her kids back? Does she need her driver's license? We all know how to do that stuff. And we just sit with her once a week and say, what can I do to help you? And so it's like, it's your time. It's not your money that we really need.
What's the training schedule? 15 hours, about like all at once?
So the training, that's the hardest part of figuring this whole thing out, is the training to get 6 people on the same schedule. The training right now, we have a session that's going on Wednesdays, 6 to 8. That's already started. Our next session that we're going to offer is going to be on Saturdays. And we kind of are like gypsies. We kind of wander around. Like if you guys, ladies, got a table together, I would come here and do your training. We will go wherever we need to go. It's 2 hours at a time. There's a trauma training that's really intense that all volunteers do together. It isn't just your table. And the training is actually really fun. You get to know the people that you're going to work with, and fellowship and friendship are really a big part of it. People want us to do it on Zoom, and I'm like, we need you to be together. We need you to be eye to eye with one another. And COVID is not as much of a threat as it was at one time. And but if you get a table together, I will come to Hilliard and I will train you with pleasure. Get your book club together, your Bible study together, your running group together.
Linda.
So each of the 6 people spend 1 hour a week.
You do it as a group, as a team. So, and the beautiful thing about that is, Linda, if you go on vacation, there's 5 other women that are not going to let her down because she's counting on you to be there for her. So you don't have to not take vacation. That's why I tell people. They're like, I can't take vacation for a year. I'm like, no, you can. We let you.
Good question. Anybody else? Go, Scott. You can just give to the vineyard the whole offering. Just stipulate, in the memo, open door. That's all you have to put. And everything that you give is going to go to these guys.
And thank you.
Steve.
How is that hour a week set?
So the hour a week is really determined by the group as you go through your training. Finding a day that works for all of you, and then when we go to the courts or our referral partners, we say this group can meet on Wednesdays at 4. We need to get coordinated with a woman who also can meet Wednesdays at 4. Yeah, it's tricky though, I'll tell you. Yeah.
Who else? Any other questions? Well, go ahead, Linda.
Are the women at the table allowed to have contact with the other women throughout?
Absolutely. We encourage it.
I understand how it could just be 1 hour. I mean, I would think you.
No, the woman that she's talking
We want you.
no, she texts me all the time. I wasn't even on her table. I trained the federal courts on how to find her. She's been in prison and she got out. And just because, as you guys mostly know, I'm in recovery, so I said, all right, here's your table. They're doing you, but keep my number if you need anything. And I ended up going to meetings with her, helping her, picking her up from the homeless shelter at times, just when I was going. So you meet with her otherwise. She just has the parameters of, you're not supposed to be asking them for money, but like, we actually, this particular woman, she was on paper in state court too in Mansfield. She didn't have a car. Two women from her table drove her up there, went in front of the judge, and they said, hey, she's on open table with us. She's been coming. She has these struggles that we see. And the people of Mansfield were like, can you come do our work up here? We're like, you wish, So you get to meet with her, whatever God puts on your heart to do in relationship with this woman, we can. Now, we only serve women, but we have men on our tables. And so we also train you about, how to interact appropriately with a woman who's been through trauma and whatever. And so there's each table has a little challenge, and we work with you and we're supported. And our Open Table license is through Open Table, and they provide us all these resources as well. So you guys aren't just left out there to hang. You have someone like your referral partner that trained you, like my groups from federal prison will call me and say, what does the probation officer want to do here? Like all your questions, you guys are going to be supported heavily through this. You'll have Tammy's text. You'll have your trainer's text. You have long-term, and that's the cool thing about this model. The statistics on this model is that 85% of the people who go through this 1 year with support with their table keep over 85% keep relationship for over 5 years afterwards. So the woman that she's talking about, she just texted me on New Year's Eve and showed me a picture of her and her 13-year-old daughter who now have a house to live in together. And I wasn't even on her table, It's just like and that's what they'll do to you. These will be long-term relationships that you give back. Pardon me, it gives them community. It does.
It's about the relationship. You'll hear that so much through training. It's not so much about achieving the goal, whatever the goal may be. It's about the relationship, because relationship is what saves people. We all need relationship. Every one of us in here have a relationship with somebody. These women often have a relationship with nobody. So we become their family. It's powerful. It's really powerful. And you might wonder why we are asking for money. Why are we asking for money? You share why.
Because I'll tell you, because the kingdom of God runs on money. That's what John Wimber used to say, and he taught us that. It's really true. There's a whole practical side to what they do, and as their organization scales up, all the women who are leading it now, they have full-time jobs and families and everything, and they're like juggling. And I was at their fundraiser last year in the fall, and all these people were there. There's judges there. There's all these people who are getting touched by this, women, family members, interested people. And they were just pitching that this thing, we feel like that there is a tremendous need. There's a tremendous need, and there's an opportunity. And like we're saying, not just to throw money at it, but to be involved, but not just to be involved, but also to give towards it. And so they need to hire staff to begin to do administrative stuff. They need, they need to raise some money. And there's, if you've ever been involved in any kind of work with nonprofits, there's opportunities, there's foundations, there's donors, there's people who are looking for particular kinds of groups that work with particular kinds of people. And so they need help as a fledgling organization to step into that. And the more I've got to know them, I said this to you last year, a year or two ago when we gave the first time, I just have been real impressed at them. And everybody who's involved in it, I just feel like, wow, they just, they have the Lord's heart. They're putting, they've already put skin in the game. And I mean, and they keep going. If you don't give, they're going to keep doing what they're doing. We just feel like this is an opportunity to, we can be a, what do they call it, a force amplifier, in our giving and our prayers and stuff. So
Please pray.
Yeah.
Please pray.
The last thing I'll say to you guys, the last thing that I'd like to say is that the reason we're focused on women is because over 90% of the money in Franklin County is given to sober houses that serve only men. The prisons are filled with mostly men. The women are underserved. You can't, that's why Amai was living, literally, she got off federal probation, successful probation, and she was in a homeless shelter. There was no halfway house to take her. None. There's no resources for women. Over 90% of all the money goes to men in recovery and men coming out of incarceration. Nothing for women.
So some of the money does go to help them get those houses, right?
that's part of what they're trying to do is acquire houses and operate them too. Which I will say this, Rick, I'll get your question in just a second. Originally, we were aiming at partnering them by giving, but also by buying a house and us as a church maintaining it, maybe more than one. And we felt like our board, after thinking about this and praying about it, that may be a step we want to get into in the future, but we felt like the greater impact we could have right now, which is what we want to do, is to partner with them because they're trying to do that too. And every $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 they get just becomes more pavement on the road to this thing happening. So we want to just give cash today and prayer and then your support. Rick was asking, where do the tables meet?
Again, that is really dependent on the friend who is the woman that we're serving. And that's because many don't have transportation. Many rely on the bus. So we've met in libraries. We've met in community houses. We've met in churches. We have met at Run the Race Club, which is on the west side. We have been so blessed that when we ask people for space, they are more than willing